Well, hi everybody, how you doing? Hi there. I'm just going to see if I can set up the comments on my laptop. Just hang on a second. How you doing? And the reason I want to do that is because I'll be able to read the comments much more easily. I was hoping that doesn't work. Why? Hi Paul, good to see you. Hi Layla. All right. I just wanted to apologize. I'm going to need to put the light in a different place because it's covering up your comments. Hang on a second. Challenged as usual. Let's put it on this side, see if that helps. Okay, there we go. All right, now I got Emma, Paul, Layla. Who else is on? Just remind me. I was hoping that I would be able to see the comments on my on my laptop, but I can't. That's really sad. All right, so just to let you know, the story about my... Sorry, the weight of the light changes the angle of my camera. Am I lopsided to you? Definitely got to find a different way of doing this. Sorry, guys. If I put it there, it might help. All right. The reason I'm doing the live chat is because I think I found out what the problem is with my computer. It's raining. It's a beautiful sunshiny day here in British Columbia. Well, in my part of British Columbia. So the problem that I have apparently is that my backup, my big computer died and I'm trying to get a new one, but my backup computer, hi Jody, my backup computer now is running out of memory. It's like, really? What else? So I'm going to probably need to do the streams on my YouTube stuff rather than on the other programs for the time being, but we'll see. All right, I wanted to find out if anybody's got any news before I start talking about the news that I've managed to get this week that I wanted to update you all on. So just, if you've got it, put it up right now so that I can include it. Hi, Linda. Good to see you. Oh, Paul, please nag me. I've got to do the same thing. Paul's made an appointment for the dentist. Yeah, that's news. Yeah, putting on your big boy pants. Okay, well, I think I need to put in my big girl pants and get an appointment as well. But I think what I've got to do, if I put my really big girl pants on, Paul, is I've got to have them x-rayed this side. Hi there. Cake, how you doing? I've got to have them x-rayed this side so that I can know exactly what's going on, because at the moment they did this side and it was horrific what needed to be done. But I think before I go ahead, I need to have this side x-rayed so I know the total amount I'm dealing with. Do you know what I mean? Then I can make some decisions. Before I did that, yeah, and so, I've got lots of things going on that are really quite an issue at the moment. However, what I wanted to say is that we've got all sorts of updates for people. And the first one, obviously, I wanted to talk about was for those of you who know Oz. Ozzy is a very dear and much-loved viewer of ours, and Ozzy suddenly got rushed into... oh gosh, no, Jody. All right, I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, Ozzy ended up in hospital last week, and nice to meet you, Jane. Anyway, so what happened was, apparently it wasn't because of his heart. He had a heart attack because he had an infection that created that. Do you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I suppose it was his heart. To have a heart attack, you have to have something to do with the heart. But in other words, it wasn't that his heart was weak. It was that the infection caused the problem in the heart. So that was the first bit of major news. The second one was our dear friend Anna Marie has been struggling with... yeah, duh. Well done, Emma. Anyway, she's been struggling with pneumonia, so we're sending out lots of thoughts for her. Yeah, Jody, I quite agree. We're all very pleased that it wasn't his heart. Anyway, so we wish Anna Maria a speedy recovery from pneumonia. She said that she started off with a cold, and this thing just went one way, and it was south, and it went down from cold to flu to bronchial to boom. Well, I'm presuming it took that course because she said she started with a cold and ended up with pneumonia. So that was really sad. And for those of you who know Lolo, her mum has been really struggling. Her mum is in her 90s, and she's had a really difficult week this week. So I just wanted to... Wow. Okay, so hang on a second. Let's keep a note of these things that I'm going wow, and I'll talk about it later and feed them back to me when I finish what I'm doing, okay? All right, so that's really young, yeah. So here is the thing. Everybody's got stuff going on, and I think if I were to put that all into one basket, I'd say let's make sure we're very grateful for the health that we do have. I wondered whether you'd like a quick makeup idea. Let me know if you would. And then the other thing I have is my disaster of the week. You need one? Okay, well, I'm going to take off my lipstick. Yeah, I've got my coffee. You mean the guy that had a heart attack, Linda? Addicted to coffee. Okay, let me get my lipstick off. Now, this is not going to be easy to get off because I'm going to get most of it off anyway. Now, as you can see, that's difficult to get off, right? Now, the reason is because what I'm using, and some of you know I use these as base, I'm using something called a mood matcher. And I got some more coming in, so I'll do some more on these for you. But this is not going to end up green. So the first thing I do is I put on the mood matcher. And that's my sort of what I call my base. And then, I'm certain that some of you know this, I then put a lighter color just there. Now, do you see the difference? So I put dark all over and then the lighter color in the center. Now, if you want to go out at night Yeah, it's very easy to do. The pencil is also a mode matcher, just a different color. Hang on a second. I don't know if that does it. Hang on. The camera on my... I'll put it in the notes later. How about that? I'll put them both in the notes later. But the thing I was trying to say to you is be aware. Yeah, I've got a whole set of them. But be aware that keep the lighter color here. And if you go out at night, that was the point I was going to make. I learned a trick that apparently that they used on Marilyn Monroe, and I didn't know it until I started doing this sort of stuff, was if you take a little bit of gold colored eyeshadow. Have any of you got any palettes that have got an eyeshadow and you're going, when would I ever use that? And you're like, duh. I don't live that life. But here's the thing, if you're going out at night, take a little bit of that eyeshadow with a little bit of moisturizer. You know I like to use moisturizer to loosen up eyeshadows and make them flow better. But the thing is, if you then put it just in the same place, then that makes your lips sparkle a little bit without it being overly glossy. Now, if you want to use the lighter color, and make it sparkly, then what I would do is I just put a little bit of lip gloss and mix it in with a little bit of the sparkly stuff, and then I would mix this all together with this and then apply it. Because you know me, I like to play with stuff. I make a right mess. The difficulty is I never get the same thing twice. There you are, Paul. Now you know how to do that makeup trick. Oh, wait a minute. Can you guys hear me? I've just realized something. I forgot to put the mic on. Should we start again? I mean, it was plugged in. Is that better, Emma? All right, that's really quite funny. All right, so now then, my saga of the week. Have you ever had one of those days where you thought, I should have actually stayed in bed? I was out and about in my garden, which I don't do very often these days, but I was out and about in my garden and I went to put something, away in my shed. Now, I opened the door to my shed and found a total flood. And I've got some footage of it, which I will add into this. But I found a total flood in my shed. Now I'm going, how the heck did that happen? Because I don't have a water connection in my shed. And then I realized the skylight in my shed must have been leaking. But what had happened, from what we can work out, is that there'd been a slow leak and it had pooled, because we had some pretty heavy rain this week. It had pooled, and then the pool of water was so heavy that it suddenly let rip. And you have to give thanks, because I haven't been in that shed in 6 months. What made me walk in that day? So what I wanted to remind you all about is that these things, I don't think these things are coincidence. I think they're God sent, you know, that somebody was watching out for me and said, you better go and have a look in your shed right now. And because of that, I came across something that needed to be put away, that was out in the garden that Wade had used and not put away. And I thought, oh, I really must put this away. And if I hadn't done that, I would never have found the problem. Wow. How about that? So I know a lot of you are believers, but this is like, I was absolutely amazed at that. Now, not by accident, no, I don't believe so. Now, you guys know that I'm inclined to buy things every now and then on the internet. I've made 2 bad purchases recently, which I thought I should talk about because making the good purchases are easy sometimes. And the way you make a good purchase, as opposed to a bad one, is that you actually read the feedback. And when I say read the feedback, it's a really good idea to read the comments and see the rankings that people give things, because it was only after I bought the one thing that I checked the feedback, and guess what? It wasn't good at all. Because I bought myself a new fitness watch for like $50, which I thought was pretty good. And I actually got it to work. So that was good. I got it to sync. It took me a while, but I got it to sync. So, I got that far. Now, here was the problem. This has a program that goes into your phone. And if you can imagine this is my phone, it's got a drop-down menu that you need to connect it. Well, it's connected to Bluetooth, but to connect with the program itself, you need to get to this drop-down menu. Well, I was literally having to tap this drop-down menu about 60 times before it connected. Now, I don't know about you, I don't have that much time in the day. Then, once I got that done, then the options didn't work. You'd be pressing the options like this and nothing connected. So then I wrote and said, I'm having a few issues. Could you please help me? I've heard nothing. Now, the good news is I have managed to get it to do one thing, which I'm going to do in just 1 second. Yeah, I've managed to get it to actually read my... Oh. There we go. It actually does read my heart rate. Yeah, very aggravating. There we go. Where are we? Pretty low today. Anyway, so it does do something. I didn't see what it said. I was reading it backwards. Now, on the good news, I really like the band. And I would love for it to have worked. So I got smart. The second thing I did was to go back and check some others that are in the same sort of price range, but this time I read all the comments. And I made sure it wasn't like 1 or 2 comments where they got their friends to make the comments. I made sure that there were tens and, you know what I mean, a lot of good comments. So I've got another one coming. I think it'll be here pretty soon. So when I've done that, I will... Oh, look at that. It's still trying to read my... Well, Linda, I think so. But what I'm trying to do, because I know a lot of my viewers have got a cash flow issue, I'm trying to find one that works as well as, for example, my watch, but is cheaper. That's what I'm looking for, because today, the knockoffs are coming very fast and furiously, and some of them have got to be better than others, and I'm trying to find one. No, it's not the same one as Lauren's, but it is, I think, in the same group. So that's exactly what I wanted to do, because I know Lauren's having problems with hers. Yeah, now the interesting thing, Paul, is that men don't realize this. Men don't have nearly as much problem with these fitness things because they carry their cell phones with them the whole time in a pocket. Now, if you talk to the women who are signed in at the moment, let's just ask them that. Okay, give me your feedback. Where is your cell phone during the day? And can it measure your steps from where it is? Let's see what the feedback is. Yeah, Sadie. Hi, Sadie. Sadie says hers is upstairs in her room. I agree. Okay. Anybody else? Where do you keep your cell phone during the day as a woman? By your chair. It's not counting your steps, by your chair, right? And Paul, on the table. Exactly, Linda. And that is, right, got the thing now, Paul? That is the problem. Women actually need to be wearing a watch to be able to count their steps. And here is the thing that you probably don't know as well. You're probably saying, well, why don't they just put it in their pocket? Well, Paul, yes, of course you do, because you're a man. And all men's trousers have pockets. Guess what, Paul? Let's have a little check-in with the viewers. How many pants, dresses, skirts have pockets for women? Not many. All right? Jody says she never has pockets. Right? I've got good dress pants, and I've got some with pockets. Most are not. They're imitation pockets. I don't think my sweats have got pockets in. I got one pair, maybe two pairs of sweats that have got pockets in. But you understand, it's not a normal thing for women to have pockets, and that's why they need a watch. Linda doesn't have anything with pockets either. You see, they worked it out that we carry purses, which is not necessarily true. Okay, so a learning moment, Paul. You learned something. By the way, you can impress all the ladies in your life now by having a discussion about, isn't it frustrating that they don't put pockets in women's clothes these days? And also, of course, Paul, it is cheaper. That's why, there's another reason why they do it. Okay, so that was the one thing that I bought that was a little bit of a problem. And I'm probably going to cut this video into little ones so that I can put it up. You're getting really smart right now. The second thing I needed was a hearing enhancement tool. So no problem, Paul. Now, you've probably seen these advertised as well. All right, so I thought I'd get one of these because definitely I'm having a problem and I don't have, $4,000 to fork out for a cheap one. I mean, for a good one. So again, needed to research it a bit more, which I will do. So I managed to get this, but the problem that I've had is that, first of all, it's got a scale on it where you can turn it down, but the scale is so small, you can't, if you're like me, you can't read what it says, and also extremely difficult to move. So you can't actually be wearing it and move it. You've got to take it off and then find something to move it with. Okay, there we go. And even at its lowest setting, it is way too loud. I'm certain I'm damaging what I got left in this ear just by wearing this. Now, I did do a little bit of research and found out that, it's going to sound very loud anyway, because, if you've been losing your hearing, you're not used to hearing through that particular ear. So you use it for hunting. Yeah, okay, well, maybe I'll send it on to you. But I want to tell you something, Paul, that's really going to surprise you, is it accentuates absolutely everything. So literally, you end up in a situation where, you can put something down on a table and you go like this because the noise of putting something down on a cup on a table, for example, is so incredibly loud. Anyway, I'm going to keep trying to find out more. So if anybody's found a cheap one, I say cheap, but I'm talking less than $4,000, which is what it costs here in Canada to get a good one, for one. If anybody's found a good one for their family member or knows about a family member that's found something that works really well, I'd certainly like to hear about it. So let me know. So that was my other little O. And other than that, my cooking tip of the week, I thought I would pass on to you. And I think I'm going to actually do this on video if you think people would like this. Did I talk to you about how to cook rice in a mason jar? Because yeah. Okay, Jody. So if anybody adds comments to when I put this up, if anybody adds comments on that, let's check it out. 200 to 300. They are 4,000 here. Emma. For one. So maybe Okay, so Linda, but here's what I found out. And I found this out because this was a really peculiar thing. I quite often feel like having something with rice, but I don't want to go through all the trouble of getting out the rice cooker and doing it. So, and I cook for one. Hi, Triona. Nice to see you in Ireland. So here is the thing. What I found out was if you take a mason jar, and it doesn't matter what size, it depends on how much rice you want. Now I find about 1/4 of a cup of dry rice is enough for one person. So what I do is I put 1/4 of a cup of rice into the bottom of a mason jar, and then I put 4 cups of water in it. Not 4 cups. 4 times the volume. In other words, 1 cup of water for 1/4 of a cup of rice. Makes sense? Actually, that's not true. 3. So it's 3 to 1 ratio. Whatever size mason jar you're going to use, put 1/4 in of dry rice and the rest water. If you've got a 1 cup mason jar. If you're making for 2 people, put in 1/2 cup and then fill a 2 cup mason jar up. Then what I do is I put the lid on it, not the screw bit, just the lid on top, and put it in my toaster oven. And I put it on at about 350 and I walk away and go and edit videos and do whatever I need to do for an hour. And by the way, the other thing I do is I throw in some frozen vegetables as well in another one with the lid on, not the screw bit, just the lid. Hi there. Hi, Jabin. So Jabin, by the way, is the incredible vlogger that I know that does this postal barbecue. You got to check out the link on this one. But I got to meet him and it was such an absolute pleasure to do that. Anyway, so then you can just put frozen vegetables in another mason jar with the lid on it at the same time. And by the way, if you've got some cooked meat that you're going, I really need, you've got it frozen maybe, and you're going, I really need to use that up. I just put in a little bit of cooked meat and I throw in some sauce of some sort, sweet and sour sauce or soya sauce or whatever, and just make a little sauce for it and then put that in to warm up at the same time. And at the end of the hour, I finish editing or doing whatever I'm doing. I go in, I've got rice perfectly cooked. I've got frozen vegetables and I've got a sauce to go, a meat and sauce to go over the top. And also, what I liked about it, by the way, and the reason I started doing is it sort of helps you ration how much you're eating. Because, we want to try and eat more of the vegetables rather than the carbs or the other thing. Hi, Em. All right, so I thought I'd mention that one as well. And the other thing I wanted to check with you all is when you get advised that I'm about to go live, other than the fact that I advised you on Facebook and Twitter, how did you get that information? In your inbox on your mail, or how did you get the information I was going to go live? I'll wait for the feedback on that one. Now, what I'm really surprised about is that I cannot see the comments on my laptop. I'm going to have to work that off because I'm pretty certain I messaged you. Okay, so the message came through on Facebook, or did you get it through another source? That's what I'm trying to find out, because I think YouTube advertises it as well, but I could be wrong. So you got that like yesterday or the day before? I can't remember when I... Interesting to know. All right, so of the things that we've talked about today, I just wanted to know what... Yeah, he does wonderful videos, Paul. Really wonderful. I actually have put some of his videos up on the DearMamaSal site. Okay. You never thought you'd miss Emma. By the way, I sent your comment through to Oz. And I wanted you to know... Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Jody. That's good to hear. I just want you to know, Emily, that I sent the message through to Oz. What I did is I just swiped my cell phone and I put everybody's comments onto pictures and then sent the pictures to Oz. And the good news is that he is now home, and apparently they think it was an infection that he got that caused it, just so that you know. And Emily, while we've got you here, and so I can update the peeps, yeah, I've got the same problem going on, Linda, so that's why I'm having problems broadcasting, is because I've got issues with computers as well. What was I about to tell you? I had a moment there. I got distracted. Don't you hate that? Anyway, so the good news is I am pleased to say that he is on the mend as far as I know. He apparently had been out to dinner the night before and, had sort of had a couple of drinks and a couple of cups of coffee and whatever. But he still couldn't see anything that would have caused this. But he is going for tests this week. He will be staying in... Okay, bye, Sadie. Pleasure, honey. You don't know Emily Mason? Wow. Emily was one of my very first viewers, Linda. There's a story to her that I think that you should know. When I first went live, there were 3 people that were really prevalent on almost every broadcast. And it was I call her Australian Becca. She was my first viewer, and she was my moderator for the longest time on the broadcast. But it was really funny because she was there, Emily was there, and Oz. And Paul, you were there in the early days as well, but not quite as early as Oz, I don't think. And I'm trying to remember who else. Anyway, but Emily was my second moderator. I remember that because Australian Becca needed to go away, and I had this young viewer, I think she was, what were you, about 17 or something then, something ridiculous. Anyway, so I had this young viewer that seemed very reliable. 16, okay. She seemed very reliable. She had an attitude, a serious attitude. And I like that. And so she had the job of getting rid of the trolls for me. So absolutely awesome person. And it's so funny because she wrote to me today and said she's so miserable because I always do the broadcast when she's working, which is at the weekend. And she was an absolute pain. and still is. Anyway, but the thing is, Emily, I really wanted to thank you because I know that your somewhat caustic comment really cheered up Oz. And her rat dog, that's right. And Andrew. Now, congratulations to Emily. I don't know if you guys heard that you just bought a house, Emily, is that right? Yeah, which is the rat, right? So I think that's very, very exciting. This is serious stuff. Anyway, congratulations to you, Emily. And most of all, I just wanted to let you know that it's really, really great to hear from you because we've missed you. There's no doubt about that. So I will try and do more broadcasts during the week for you if you want to join in a bit more. I'm trying to think who else you might need news of. I know that you asked after Glenn. I haven't heard a word from Glenn in over a year. And the last word I heard was not pleasant, quite honestly. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Paul. So, Paul, did you ever get to the doctor? That's cute. I don't know, has anybody else heard from Paul? Not Paul, sorry, from Glenn. I definitely, I have not heard from him in over a year. So, but it's good to hear that Linda is doing well. Linda, I'm sorry to hear about your son's friend having a heart attack at a very young age as well. I think what we've got to look at, and I would say this as a general thing, what we need to look at is it not true that the lives we are living today are really not as healthy as they should be? And, you know, I was hearing somebody say recently, actually it was Sean that was saying it, is that computers are the new smoking. We're spending so much time sitting in front of our computers and not moving. And they're saying that that is the new smoking. And I know a lot of you know, I got myself one of those exercise ball chairs for my computer. And I really can feel the difference because it's literally moving that much more of my body just as I'm sitting there typing. I'm not sitting on it now. Well, thank you, Carl. Yeah, I did have a great time. Anyway, so the exercise ball chair really helped me. I know that Sean's using a pedal machine on his. Plus, what I'm trying to do, and I don't know if any of you are doing this, I'm trying to consciously not sit down to do certain things. You know, I've got into the habit because I'm getting older. Well, I'll sit down and sort out these papers, or I'll sit down and do this, that, and the other. And I'm trying to force myself, if I've got papers to sort, let me take them to the kitchen where the countertops are a good height. And sort the papers out while I'm standing. Do you understand? Because then you'll sort of move a bit more. And I will do that as well. For example, if I'm clearing up stuff in a room, I will take everything in the room that doesn't belong in the room and put it in a basket, and then go to the kitchen, again, where the countertops are a nice height, and I will start sorting them into the rooms they need to go into, and then walk from the kitchen to each room, just so that I am making myself walk a bit more. Yeah, you know something, Carl, I appreciate that, but, you know, I'm going to be 70 this year. Well, it's a pleasure to see you. We love to have visitors come and visit us on our live broadcast. Yeah, I think I think the whole point about exercise, as I'm talking to Lauren about this. Lauren was in a bit of a funk this week, and I said to her, go and clean something. Because number one, if you go and clean something, number one, it's steps. Thank you, Paul, for saying that. And, number one is cleaning something actually adds to the exercise. I have demonstrated to the viewers before, but just by sitting and doing this, if you can't get up, just by doing literally an arm roll, brings up your heart rate, and that's what you need. So the thing is to check to see how many things we can do in a day that are not sitting. That's the point I'm trying to make. So whenever you catch yourself sitting for more than half an hour or so, go, wait a minute, I need to get up and do something. Quit smoking at 98. That's pretty good. Actually, do you realize I've nearly finished smoking for 5 years now, I think. Yvonne was telling me. I think this January it'll be 5 years. So I'm actually very proud of myself. And with your help, guys. I often wondered whether I would have managed it without having you guys to support me, for one. But the other thing was that, for those of you who know Yvonne, she gave up in September, and I said to her, because I was pretty sure she wouldn't quit, and I said to her, if you are still not smoking by January, I will quit. And come January, she was still not smoking. And funnily enough, I smelt the smell of smoke in my house recently. And I said to Yvonne, you're not smoking again, are you? Now, she said, no, I wouldn't dare. Because actually part of what's kept us, hi Yasmin, part of what's kept us off cigarettes is the fact that we both have quit. Because she knows if she started again, I probably would start. How are things in Tunisia? I think you're in Tunisia, right? You still don't smoke in the car. Well done. Yes, sitting down is the new smoking. And that's why I'm trying to encourage my viewers to really... It's good to see you, Yasmin. What time is it where you are? Yeah, I really think that if you can be aware, it's just the little things that you do that make a difference. So be aware. If you... Jody, I think about... you do so many wonderful things considering the problems that you live with. I actually think that a lot of my viewers who have a lot of serious illnesses do more than the rest of us. You don't like it. Why, Emily? You don't like most things, Em. But do tell me, why don't you like it? Yeah, I think Linda's way stronger than she ever realized. Okay, so here is the thing. Yeah, for some reason, YouTube gets upset if you comment a lot. Do you know where that hit me, Emily? When we were doing Dancember the first year, or the first couple of years, it would shut me down. It would literally shut me down because I was talking too much. And I'm going, excuse me, that's my job. And then, of course, we ended up making me a special link into it so that they couldn't cut me off. Well, Jody, I really think that. I'm not saying it for credit here. I really do believe that you do more, considering the things that you're stuck with. Paul is another one. Paul, you do more than I think a lot of people probably would do. When you get when you get on a roll, you do really great job. And you get out of the house a lot now that you never did before. You are helping other people all the time. And Jody, if I take the amount of time you spend helping other people, other viewers, same as Paul, this is like, your days are difficult enough without adding that to it, and yet you willingly help so many people. And I am so, so, so grateful for that. So, to me, this is about, yeah, well, Jody, I think the main thing to know is that, we may be sick, but it doesn't mean that we can't help people. And I've always said that. When I used to be up on stage, I used to say, if I'd waited until I wasn't ill to do this, I probably never would have inspired hundreds of people, or hundreds of thousands of people actually. I would never have done it. The thing is that I think we have to look, and I say to myself so often, what if this is as good as it gets? What if this is my new norm? And when I think about that, I think I don't want to spend every day lying around doing diddly. You find ways to be relevant and to contribute. Yes. Now, Jody, now I'm going to ask you the question. What has that done to you? What has being relevant and being able to contribute to somebody else's life done for you? And to Lionel. Because I'm pretty sure that it has changed your life in some way. And I think, Paul will tell you the same thing, that when I first met Paul, then I remember, the one thing that struck me about Paul, he was always willing to help other people, and always has been, regardless of what he's been going through. Yes, Lionel is happier because you are happier. Yeah, Paul, and I look at that and I think, through all that you've been through this cancer scares, through the radiation, through everything, you helped so many people by taking us along with you. You helped us understand, what those sort of things are like and how you made them fun, which is just amazing. And for somebody who has claustrophobia, to the things you overcame, you were and continue to be a real role model for all of us. And I look at it and I go, I think that's where we learn the lessons. I think part of the reason why DearMamaSal helps people is not because of me, quite honestly. I think the reason it helps people is because the viewers get to see other people with issues doing things that they didn't think they could do. I'm pretty certain that anybody who was around in Leslie's transformation from being stuck inside, well, hang on a second. I'm going to get back to the comment about my age. So, I remember so much about Leslie being stuck inside and having that, not having been out of the house in 3 years. And then you go, wow, you look at her now and she's out to Adele concerts, and I think she was going to a Celine concert. She has been in an aeroplane. I mean, all these things to me are just mind-blowingly wonderful. Okay. Well, I want to tell you something, Triona, that I keep remembering my mum at my age. And I definitely must say that my mum at my age was not doing some of the things I get up to. Yeah. Linda was incredible. And what about the lady who looked after her ex-husband while he went through cancer? Who's just moved... Wait a minute. Why can't Mel? right? I mean, I don't know how many of you heard that story and were just mind blown by that. It was like, how many of you would take in an ex-husband and nurse them through cancer to the end? I thought that was an incredible demonstration of love that we all needed reminding of. Well, Jody, do you understand? Well, it is my belief that we will all have, you ask Emily, I think in the early days when we started this, you know, I don't think we really realized how many people we would affect and how many lives we would change. And thank you, Linda. I think it's really important because I guess what we really did do and continue to do is demonstrate that with a little bit of support, it's amazing what people can do. If there's one message that I think DearMamaSal on the broadcast side sends every single week, is it is amazing what a little bit of support can do. Well, Jody, you know, it's a two-way trade. It's really, if you guys can understand what you have done for others just by being at the broadcast regularly, you know, I think you'd understand that most people today are lonely. They think they're the only ones with the problem, and they can't afford 9 times out of 10 the help that they need to get out of the situation they're in. I was sitting with a group of very well-to-do people. Yeah, look at her now. Hey, I was sitting with a group of very well-to-do people recently. And I said, you know, you really don't know what it's like to be sitting in a third world country with first world problems. You know, I think the most soul-wrenching thing for me is to get emails from young people sitting in the Philippines or, you know, wherever, and they are busy telling me stuff where I know they need a therapist. And I know that that is such a frowned upon thing in so many cultures. Or they need to talk to a psychiatrist. And again, frowned upon and not available in so many countries. So you go, what do these people do? You know, what do these people do? What can we as a society give them? Now, I'm not claiming, as you know, I don't claim to be any sort of a therapist or anything, and I'm not. But I do know that most people, if they get a chance to talk about what their problem is, and Paul, you are really great about listening on those things as well, you know, if they get a chance to talk about their problem, and they can talk with somebody who doesn't tell them what to do because that doesn't work, but just gives them options and say, hey, you're smart, yeah, pick an option that works for you. You'll be amazed how many steps people will take on their own. They just don't know. Yes, exactly, Yasmin. So in Tunisia, going to a therapist is a luxury. And by the way, you know, most people won't be able to afford. I want to tell you something, Linda, that your story in my soul is still one that really hurts in a way. Because I just wanted so much to be able to help you, but I realized that it was something that only you could make a decision on. I wanted to check, how is your son doing that? Well, both of them, in fact. Yeah, Triana, you're right. Everybody's got their stuff. You know, we think everybody's perfect and their lives are perfect and they don't have any issues. Well, I got news for you. I don't know many people that don't have stuff somewhere. You know, I don't care how rich they are, how poor they are. I don't care, you know, how successful they look, whatever. You know, everybody's got stuff. And I get quite frustrated because, in my view, why aren't we teaching coping skills at school? Because you can teach me all the math and trigonometry and whatever, but if you don't teach me how to cope with life, I am not prepared. And so part of the thing that I talk to, when I get a chance to talk in front of an audience, is I talk some of these stories because what I remind people is, how come these people needed to talk to me? How come they weren't talking to you, the parent? How come they weren't talking to you, the aunt? Well, hi, Megan. You know, the thing is this, Yasmin, that, hi, Katie. You know, you've got to look at it and say, we all get to do our part. Let me ask you something. How, I look at even December, you know, when we do December, and this year, hang on a second, I just need to read Linda's comment. I am so glad to hear that about Nicholas. Please send him a hug from me. I really, really appreciate if you would give him a hug and say, I'm so proud of him and the work that he's doing. Yeah, so December, it was really quite funny because last year, if you remember, was the first year that they didn't have me on camera. And is it my imagination? Oh, anyway, it didn't have me on camera, and that, why would that be an issue? And yet it caused a huge issue, enough that they're redesigning the set for December this year. Now, you wouldn't think that just seeing me in the background would have caused such a scene. But the funny thing was, people missed the hi and, you know, the funny things I used to do in the back, because not everybody's interested in what's going on in the front. You know, they always wanted to see what Sal up to, or, you know, Sal pinch Stacy or pinch so-and-so, or do whatever it was that they used to say to me, and I would. And so this year, they're redesigning the set to make sure we can still have the dining room table where it used to be, and that I was still... Now, that made me feel really special, quite honestly. Oh, did I hit the mic? Sorry. That made me feel really special. But, again, such a small thing. People, for some reason, connected to the old fart sitting at the back of the room. Yeah, it was really, really quite strange. And the other thing was that there was a big thing that was like, everybody has to sleep this year. You know, this was a big thing that was said by certain people. You know, everybody needs to get, you know, sleep. And I looked at Benji, when I saw Benji, and I saw this go down, I go, Benji, is this a condition? He said, what? I said, is it a condition that I have to sleep? And he said, well, Sal, you and I both know you and I are not going to sleep. So I said, okay, fine. I'm long past the age where people tell me what I have to do. Now, if I really want to, I know I could. But then I'd have to have somebody doing my job. Team no sleep, right? Yeah, Yasmin, you're right though. You know, small things mean a lot to people. How many of you know that to be true at a very deep level? So to me, I found as well that when I was interacting with people, it wasn't the same when I knew they couldn't see me. So I'd be typing, but it wasn't quite the same for me. I really liked it when I could go, good point. Yeah. Yeah, I think, but I like to believe, and forgive me for this one, I like to believe that each of us on the December team brings a certain thing to the overall cake, if you like. And I'm sort of like, I like to think that I have my contribution. Yeah, go right ahead, Yasmin. I was just going to do a 15-minute broadcast here. While we're waiting for Yasmin's comment to pop up, I'm still trying to get everybody's views on colors for the t-shirts this year. I thought I heard aqua was a really popular one. Oh, how can someone be completely selfless? I don't know. I haven't reached that level. I've always said, Yasmin, and you're asking for my opinion, so I can only give you my reality. My reality is that there is never such a thing as a noble act. Because whenever one is noble, you get a reward. So, people have often said to me, oh, Sal, you are, you do so much for other people. You are so altruistic, whatever, They use all these words. And I go, no, really, I'm not. I know that you think that, but I really, you're forgetting a little piece of the puzzle. That every time I do something to help somebody, I'm getting a huge reward. That is not a one-way trade. So I don't want to go against religion here, Yasmin, and I don't want to go against anything else, but I know people that do way more than I do in different ways, but I think we all do it in our own way. Who's to say that my contribution is less than somebody who throws money at it? Who's to say that Paul's contribution or Jodi's contribution is less than I do? I don't think so. I think what we all do is we give the best we have to give. And in the words of that wonderful poem that Mother Teresa always quoted, and it may never be enough. How many of you feel that it doesn't matter what you do, you will still end up at the end saying, I could have done so much more? And so, yes, I think as well, I think Jodi said, though, Jodi, I think you said it. I think you said it in a very poetic way, which was, when we get up and we give to others, it gives us a reason to get up. It gives us, meaning in our life. How many people have asked me, Sal, how do I know what I'm meant to do with my life? I get a lot of people ask me that. How do I know what I'm meant to do with my life? Jodi, I don't think that you necessarily knew what your contribution to people was going to be along the way. Paul, I'm pretty sure that even though you were a churchgoer, you didn't realize that by helping other people, you could completely change yourself. Yeah, that's an important thing to know, Paul. And one thing, Jodi, that I've been helping Jodi understand as well, not everybody wants the help you want to give. And so the trick is not to hate them for that. I like to continue to remind myself, guys, that their speed is the right speed for them. Maybe they're caught in a I need sympathy, not help stage. All right. And I'm certain that a lot of you have been there. You know, which is, yeah, I want you to feel sorry for me and fix my problem, but I don't want to help myself. Well, Jody, that's part of that. As I said, that's part of what I wanted to do here with DearMamaSal, was not only do the work, but also to, hi Sakura, I'm sorry that I missed you. Yeah, it's not only to do the work, but just to be aware that when we do the work, we're helping ourselves more than anybody. I get quite disappointed, to be quite honest, when I open up my mail in the morning and there isn't a comment from somebody needing help. No, that's pretty sick, isn't it? Yes, I'm really glad that I went to see the tulips. And by the way, I had so much fun because I took you guys along with me. And I'm glad, you know, maybe next year we can meet up, or maybe before then we can meet up and go and do a little trip. Sakura, maybe I'm arrogant. No, I'm definitely arrogant. All right, so here's the thing that I always said. I always believed, and this is true for each and every one of us, if you believe you can make a difference in the world, you can. Does that make sense? If you believe that you can make a difference in the world, you can. The thing is that you have to believe, for example, I don't know how many times you've heard me say this. I will put a video together and I literally will sit there and go, I don't know why I'm editing this. It's got nothing of any value in it. Nothing. And then I go, but that's for me, it's got nothing in it. I cannot make that judgment call for a viewer. So I will edit it and put it up and just go, And then, you know, almost without fail, that is the one video where I thought there was nothing of value in it, that I will start getting people saying, I'm so glad that you said that because it really changed my thinking. And I'm going, what? What did I say that made that much difference? And I have to go back and check. And I still don't hear it. But it doesn't matter. So remember this and get those words in front of you somewhere. The fact that you want to make a difference in the world means that you can. Right? The fact that you want to help people means that you will, but not everybody, as Jody found out. Right? Not everybody. So the trick is to go every day, and this is what I say to people. Paul's great at this, I know, because I've heard the stories, and I know that Jody is as well. Every day when you go out of your place where you live, smile at people. Now, make them wonder, what is she smoking at home, you know? Because just a smile will have such an effect. Now, have you noticed that just smiling at people will cause quite a problem? No problem, Yasmin. It'll still be here when you get back. You can pick it up. The total broadcast will be online. Good to see you, honey. Big hug. So, hi, Jan. I didn't see you come in. Wow. Yeah, it totally throws them off guard. But, all right, hang on a second. I need to go back. Who said that? Triona. Sorry, I shouldn't hit the phone, should I? Triona, tell me more about that. You're saying that in certain stores you get a panic attack and others you don't. That is really interesting. Yeah, I make a point of trying to make somebody's day, or many people as I can, when I'm out and about. And I know that for a lot of people, just giving them a smile, I just go morning, or whatever, makes a difference. Or I will see somebody struggling, in an aisle in the store. They're obviously looking for something, or they're trying to get higher up and they're 5 foot nothing. I will go out of my way to stop and help somebody. Do you do that? I'm sure you do. So, all right, so what Paul's saying is the bigger the store, the bigger the anxiety. Is that right, Paul? Did I understand that correctly? Your local corner store is almost like family, because there are not as many people, and okay, interesting. All right, so here's what I would suggest, Paul, if you can. Yeah, so Triona and Paul, both of you, the same thing. When you're in the big stores, try and take each aisle as one store in your mind. Go, okay, I am now in the, what should we say, washing powder, soap type shop. All right, and just take an aisle as one shop. And then as you go round to the next aisle, imagine you walked outside and went into another small shop, and the shop is only that long. Yes, and Linda, that's a good point as well, which is challenge yourself to actually go, how many of you only shop at one store because you know that store and you know where everything is in that store? When I say you only shop at one store, but let's say a grocery store, you only go to the Safeway or you only go to this one. Okay, if you're noise sensitive, I understand that as well. Yep. So here's the thing that I would say, that once you've got once you've got one aisle beat, you know what I mean, where you can actually literally just focus on that one aisle, then it doesn't matter how big the store is, because you'll just keep walking into the next store. Does that feel comfortable? So, yeah, and just see if it helps. Literally say to yourself, oh, look at that, I just got into the baking store. Or I just got into the fruit and vegetable store. Hi there, Mel, we were just talking about you. Hang on a second, I just need to go back and see what she said. Yes, so the interesting thing is, that is very kind of you, Sakura, really. The interesting thing is that, yeah, you're here because we were talking about you. All right, everybody, so this is the lady who looked after her ex-husband when he had cancer. So for those of you who've never met her, we hold her in very high esteem, because that is an act of love that I'm not sure that I could have managed. Flying tackle hugs are her speciality. Yeah, so I'm hearing as well this business about taking, and Mel's just talking about that, taking a new route somewhere. How many of you take exactly the same route to the store, exactly the same route to whatever? And I want to tell you that as you get older, it gets worse. And so I'm trying to challenge myself to literally get out of my routine. Now, do any of you have a problem if I cut this broadcast up into different bits and then put it up as different videos? Because I think we've covered so many different subjects that, there are quite a few little vignettes in here that I think are important for people. Yeah, I think, something, that we get into a routine that is comfortable, but not necessarily healthy. Well, I think, Linda, when you understand that, hi Lolo, good to see you. Linda, when you understand that, then thank him. What I'd like you to do is to say to him, I really want to thank you for making me stretch the envelope a bit here. Because I know it's uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable for the first 2 or 3 times I do it, but after that it's my new norm. So I think whenever somebody helps you like that, see it as a great act of love on their part. Do you understand what I'm saying, Linda? It's actually a great act of love, which is, Mom, try the store down the road. You might like it better. And you're going, no, but I'd have to go on a motorway. Well, that tells us everything. That tells us that you have some fear of driving on the motorway. And therefore, this is now, how many times can I challenge myself to go on the motorway this year? Because obviously, at some level, I have a little bit of a fear. Why is there a fear of the motorway? The fear of the motorway is you haven't been driving on it enough. So maybe this is somewhere where you take a friend and go, okay, really, once a week, I need to get on this motorway. Do you want to come with me? We'll go do things. Go have coffee across the other side of the motorway. We will go do, make it an adventure. But Linda, again, thank you for telling the truth on that, because when you tell the truth on that, when you tell the truth on that, you help so many people. And I remember that from, chatting to you before. You always were so honest about the stuff that really confronts you. It's wonderful. I should get off here, shouldn't I? I don't think anybody that's on at the moment. We do have a number of viewers from Washington. Yeah, I would have to check into that. Actually, the interesting time. I think the interesting time is when we all go down to Vlogger Fair, Sakura. There's a big YouTuber meetup in Seattle. And so, we meet a lot of the Washington viewers then. That, I'm not sure when they'll have it this year. They had it in November last year. They used to have it in the summer, but for some reason... Yeah, I put pictures up and everything. So, Mel, if you write to me... Yeah, if you write to me, I will get Sakura to send me some of those pictures again, because I'm not sure if I can find them easily, and then we'll pass them on to you. Yeah, she sent us some pictures. It was so cute. Yeah, Mel, I'm sorry you've been sick. Misery. I love the way you say that. Well, what's been wrong, Mel? I don't know about the rest of the regular viewers, but I'm sort of... There's part of me that goes, if you haven't been well, wouldn't this not have been the time for you to let us know so we could support you? Well, you are now, so that's important. Okay, so they don't know what's causing it? Yeah, I know how you are in helping other people, but letting us help you is apparently another issue altogether. Yeah. Okay, well, at least now... Yeah, Jen, you know what I'm saying. Well, you know, I actually relate to that. I was sick recently and I was feeling so bad I did not want to answer the phone. And I had all sorts of friends of mine trying to phone me and wish me well, and I was ignoring the phone. So I understand that. However, I did actually get messages out to say to people that's what was going on. Ah, okay, so Mel, would you like to know why that still affects you? Because you're going, wait a minute, that was 17 years ago. Why is that still affecting me? See, one of the things, well, it depends. It depends. Mel, you're not going to like this. So let me know if you want me to go with the 2x4. So, and Mel, of all people, for me to have to talk to you about this surprises me. Okay, so do you want the 2x4 or? For those of you who have never been around for the 2x4, I'm about to tell Mel, if she gives me permission, a bit of truth that she might not like. And so we call that the 2x4. Okay. Yeah, Paul's ready, but is Mel ready? Okay, I'll give it to you gently. Are you ready, honey? All right. I'm going to give you a couple of things that you need to concentrate on. Number one, if you hadn't cared so much about her, it wouldn't hurt so much. All right, does that make sense? You know, you obviously really cared for her. So I see that as a positive. Now, the other thing is this. Let me just be quite clear. This is the 2x4 bit. Are you ready for this? See, the thing is this. The only reason you could possibly be sad on her birthday is very selfish. It means you are missing her. It's got nothing to do with the fact that she is no longer in pain and no longer ill and in a better place. It's about you have not been able to replace that love. So the funny thing, strange thing, not funny, the strange thing is my mum died on Valentine's Day and my father died on Mother's Day. And people said, oh, you know, how terrible. And I said, no, I think it's wonderful. Number one, I'm never going to forget the day they died. So on Valentine's Day, I always go, Happy Valentine's Day, Mum. And on her birthday, I make a point of doing things that, if I can, that I know she would enjoy. You know, play in the garden, do creative things. All right, so here's the new norm, Mel. See, what I'd like you to do is anybody who gets sucked into this, and really it is sucked in. Anybody who gets sucked into this, think of it this way. The next time this hits you, go, wait a minute, this is being selfish. I'm only thinking about my loss. I'm not thinking beyond that. And I choose to remember my sadness rather than the happy days. And so that is exactly what makes us depressed. When you concentrate on the negative, you will be depressed. But if you go, this next birthday, I am going to really do things to honor them. Now, for those of you who saw the tulip video, you know, the whole time I was walking through the tulip stuff, I actually, yeah, that's quite normal, Mel. We always punish the people closest to us. Now, and then, of course, you're not going to like this either, Mel. We've got the perfect excuse. You know, I just, you know, acted like an idiot. And it's your job because you're my husband. Yeah, so you need to tell him that. And also, Mel, if you want to stop this behavior, you also might want to retrain Arnold. To say the words, I hear you're hurting, Mel, but you might want to give it some thought as to whether you are having selfish thoughts and that's what makes you so angry. All right, so if you can give him permission to remind you, because, you know, we talk about that a lot. Whenever we feel resentment, whenever we feel anger, whenever, you know, get to what's underneath that. What's really underneath that? What's the fear? It's the pain, right? Yes, but also, I think that it's not a bad idea for him to say, I understand where it's coming from, but it doesn't make the behavior any better. So when you're ready, let's talk about this again. But I don't want to talk about this while you're in attack mode. Because why should he have to take the brunt of your inability to cope with that anger? And really what it is, if you think about it, Mel, is you are still angry. At some level. You know, you can be as angry as you like that she was taken away, but it's not going to change it. Makes sense? It's done. Yeah, and Mel, you know, what I found as well is when I start rejoicing in the time that I did have, however small. I mean, how many of you remember Bina? Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I actually have, talking about having a code word or whatever, I actually make a point of not talking to people when I'm emotionally charged. I won't have an argument. It's a pleasure, Jan. Yeah, it's a great idea, Sakura. The point is that, you know, it takes two people to have this fight. All right? So if you're out punishing somebody else because you're upset, think about that. That is not fair. But you know something? Okay, no problem, Jan. Nice to see you. Yeah. So all I'm asking, Mel, is this depression you've been in, how long have you been in it? And was this what triggered it? Okay. So and is it seasonal? Does it come in the winter or? Well, you've had, to be fair to yourself, Mel, to be fair to yourself, you've had a lot of changes this year. And are you getting any help? Okay, now Mel, duck. It's good. Get help. Get help. Look at it this way, Mel. You have been through a very difficult, I think for as long as I've known you, you've been through various difficulties. We all have, right? We all struggle with difficult things. But you know, I think one of the things about you, Mel, and I'd like to say this from the little knowledge I have of you, is that you have always been a giver. And it is time for you to learn the balance. That it's okay to receive as well. I'm learning this the hard way. But I really think that part of this is that you are not used to not being a giver all the time. And then as soon as you're not giving, you feel like you failed in some way. Does this make any sense to you? Yeah, I don't know what is prompting me to say that to you, but that's what I feel. I feel that you've always been such a giver. Yeah, because, and that makes perfect sense, Mel, because that makes you vulnerable. You don't like being vulnerable. You're always the strong person. Yeah, exactly. You know, you're always the strong one. Now, here's the thing. Is Jody still with us? Okay. So, yeah, Linda Linda knows this one, you know, big time. No problem. Let us know when you're back. Okay, so how many of you relate to what Mel's talking about? Yeah. Yeah, I had a feeling that you would as well. So just wait for her to get back. She's just refreshing. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. So maybe we can just put together a small support team here for Mel, so we can give her a chance to talk through some of this anger that she has or whatever's going on. Yeah, Sakura, that doesn't surprise me for the same reason. Hi, Anna Marie. I can tell I'm going to be on here all day. How's the pneumonia? Oh gosh, so not getting worse, that's the important thing. No problem. So Mel, we've got a small support team of people who would like to work with you, if that's okay with you. Now, they all know this issue that you have from their own experience. So if you would like to do that, it will probably cut your recovery time in half. I'm not joking. And well, that's because you don't want to talk about it. Right? Because if you talk about it, it's demonstrating that you're vulnerable, you silly shit. And Linda also wants on that team. Do you know Linda from the UK? I'm pretty sure you do. Oh, Linda knows all about it. Believe you me. I'm amazed we ever got Linda talking, but we did. Thank goodness. Of course it does. All right, so, honey, you've had a huge year, and you already had stuff going on. So, just a little bit of understanding of that. You're so used to being the fixer, Mel. When I think about everything I've heard about you, you always fixing things. Yeah, unfortunately, that's called life, and death is part of life. You understand what I'm saying, Mel? So it's not what we want, but it is reality. And, you've heard me say this before as well, Mel. Disneyland is over there where that sort of thing doesn't happen, but we live in the real world. And in the real world, we have people let us down, we have people betray us, we have death, we have people do wicked things, and so part of this learning is to know that this is reality, and that the dream that we had that everything was going to stay perfect just doesn't happen, unfortunately. Now, that doesn't make the world bad, because I think when you get your mind around it, Mel, I know, we know that, Mel. We do know that. But Mel, here is the thing. When you can get your mind around these things and be grateful for the years that you did have, imagine if you didn't have those years with people you loved. I try and remember, I started to talk about Bina. I try and remember, I don't know why the death of Bina had a bigger effect on me than any dog I've ever had. Maybe because he went so young, he was only 8 when he passed. But it was just like, why that dog? Well, Bina had an attitude, which many of you know. And so I think he did affect me at a very soul level. And there's part of me that goes, I'm not sure I want to be hurt that much again. But that's insane, because you all know how much I love dogs and training them. So we all have to look at these things and go, what's the reality here? So Mel, if you would like the support group, please do me a favor and write to me to give me permission to give you the contacts of the people who want you to help. And let me write down who said that. That was Linda, Paul, and Jody. Now, by the way, Sakura, it sounds to me like you're going through roughly the same thing. Would you like some support at this time as well? Because you just got moved countries, you're also in a new marriage. So you've got a lot of change that has happened to you as well. Yeah, go right ahead, Linda. Okay, so let us know when you'd like some help. Okay, so Paul has already got Mel on Facebook, but Jody won't have any way of contacting you. Yeah. Okay, Sakura, write to me and tell me that so I've got it in writing. Under this name, Mel, the Sesame name? Yeah, she's just worked that out as well, Jody. There you go. So we now hold you guys accountable. Now, some people write more slowly than others. Brett spell. All right, so some people write more slowly than others. So if you haven't heard from the support team you would like, write to me and remind me. Mel, before we let this one go, let me make sure you understand one thing. For all you have given to so many, you deserve this. You know, you really deserve the support. And don't sort of poo-poo it and go, oh, I'm being a pain, and you know, it's not about that. It's at the moment, we have a chance of giving back to you some of what you have given to others. Well, Linda, I think with you as well, and that's why I'm sure this would resonate with you. I think one of the most difficult things for you was to understand that you were not alone and that people genuinely cared. I think that was difficult for you to understand that and yet Linda is not alone. Exactly. Linda was a prime example of, gosh, how long did you watch us and not even talk to us? And then I think the most wonderful thing, Linda, about you is that you really got it, that we would, you know, hopefully always be here, you know, so you didn't necessarily have to be here all the time if your life was in the way. But I'd like to believe that you always know that whenever you need somebody to talk to, that we would be here. Yeah, I remember it too. And you know, I want to tell you something. There were times when I cried, Linda, with your story. I don't mind telling you that, because I couldn't imagine what it was like to live your life. Well, that's the important thing. The important thing is to know that we're here, but also, Linda, the important thing is to know that you now have history that will help others. All right? Because you know what it was like to go from that point of being in, well, nobody really is going to be interested in my story, you know, I'm just sounding like a whiny ass so-and-so. Moving through to, gosh, you know, that really helped. Now, do you know why? Cheap. Get a cheap fish, yeah, because they die quickly. But Paul, do you understand why getting the fish was so important? Yeah, and this is the whole thing, Linda, because you have now been helped in some ways, you understand your ability to help others is far greater. I've always said that the best people to help people in depression are actually not doctors necessarily, but actually other people who've been there. No, Paul, the reason why getting a pet and starting with a fish. Yeah, exactly, Jody. But one of the reasons is because it requires discipline to look after a pet. It requires that you get to feed it. It requires that you take the time to change the water when it needs it. Do you know what I mean? All those sort of things. It gives great pleasure, but it also requires discipline. One of the things when we get into depression is we don't want to be responsible for anything. You know, we want the world to change, instead of realizing that we are the ones that need to change. How many times have you heard me say, we cannot think ourselves out of depression, we have to do ourselves. Well, one of the reasons, Mel, it might be an idea, although a Rottie, you know, is a pretty powerful dog to get, but one of the reasons that it's a good idea is you're going to get unconditional love. And I would say, if you haven't got the time to properly train a Rottie, go for an easier breed. A Rottie like a German Shepherd. Right. Hi Judith, good to see you. Welcome to everybody. We've been on here for 2 hours and I really came on for 15 minutes. So, all right, let me put it this way, Mel. Mel, question. Do you think a Rottie would make you happy? Or will it give you more responsibility and more stress? I mean, think about this. The reason I say that is quite often we say, well, I want this to make me happy. But the truth is, that's the story we tell ourselves. You know, it could actually end up causing you more stress, not less. But you do get unconditional love. Now, if you've been able to train a 168-pound dog, then you know about Rotties. So I take back my previous conversation. Exactly. So is it fair on a Rottie? So what sort of dog could you get that would not need that much activity if you don't think you could keep up with it? Yeah, I'm really fighting. I think part of the reason I haven't replaced Bean Bean is because, you know, I love that German Shepherd mix, but I'm going, you know, do I do enough activity to justify a German Shepherd now? Maybe I really do have to downsize on the size of a dog, and I'm not an ankle biter dog person. So I've got to really think about, I've got to find a dog that's got a lot of personality and doesn't yap. I think, Mel, that would, I mean, if you live in a sort of environment where you can have a pet without a problem, you know, that would be fun to do. And it would take you out of yourself. And just going and visiting the shelter will actually cheer you up in some ways. I know it might also depress you in some ways. A Spaniel and a Labrador. That's an interesting mix. Well, then there's a no-brainer. Yeah, definitely get a dog. Get a dog. If you've got 2 acres to play with. Absolutely. Does Arnold like dogs? Yeah, name it Paul or Paulina. That is cute, Paul. Or Paula, yeah. Hey guys, I've got to go. Seriously, this has been a 2-hour broadcast. I haven't started my day yet. Yeah, that baby giraffe, really. Okay, so Mel. Yeah. I'm waiting. I don't have a life. Let me just sit here. I'm listening. Yeah, what time is it here? It's nearly 2 o'clock here. I haven't had breakfast yet. Okay, thank you, Sakura. I will check that later. Mel, is this question coming this week? Isn't that typical of Mel? No, I don't have a cold. That's interesting, do they? No, I don't think I have a cold. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I did make a point of saying I've got to phone the doctor to find out. Well, bless you for that. No, I am actually doing pretty well. But is it the redness in my eyes? Is that what you're worried about, Mel? Yeah, I think maybe I'm suffering a little bit from allergies, which may be causing... Yeah, allergies, I would say. Yeah. But bless you. You know, that really touched my soul, because I'm going, oh, that's the Mel I know. The one that's going to ask, am I okay? That's so cute. And by the way, Mel, if you looked after everybody, yourself, as well as you look after everybody else, you're going to be just fine. And I don't know about you, but you've probably had enough of this funk. So time to get up and at 'em, honey. Go do something for you. Right? Go get a dog. And know that you've got a whole group of people here that wants nothing better for you than for you to be happy and enjoy your life, because you deserve that. Hey, Mel, did you hear what Paul's up to? Paul, when does your week test... Bye, Triona. Paul, when does your week test start? He's going on a week-long sleepover. Or so we heard. I won't make you drive. I promise you, Mel, I wouldn't lie to you. I actually am feeling fine. I'm not sure whether I did something wrong with my eye makeup or something that you're seeing. But I do know that my eyes are a little red, but I think that is from allergies. And I thought I did such a good job. Apparently not. I'm out of here, seriously. Okay, so Paul isn't answering me that I can see, so not a problem. Guys, have a wonderful time. Thank you for being here. No, I didn't take it wrong. But I know you know me pretty well, Mel. Yeah, maybe I should turn off the diva light, right? Okay. All right, guys. So big hugs to you all. I think what I'm going to do is take parts of this video and talk around them on different videos, because there was so much that we had in here that quite honestly would make, really good subjects for different videos. All right. Big hugs to you all. Thank you for the support that you give one another, and most of all for the support you give yourselves. Be proud of the steps you've taken. As I said, everybody's at their own speed. Yeah, Paul, when do you start your test week? Pleasure, Mel. Exactly. That's the problem, Mel. You need to get up to date with Paul. Yeah, yeah, his friend. Yeah, and he's going. Anyway, Mel, you might want to check in with Paul on that one. I am certain he'll give you all the gory details. All right, everybody, have a great time. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for being here. Let me get out of here before I spend the day here. Bye-bye for now. It's saying, am I sure? All I've got to do is work out how to finish it, right? Hang on. Bye, guys.